Hello everyone, and welcome to the Rabe Creations Flosstube, episode number 5. My name's Nicole, and I'm coming to you from Calgary, Alberta here in Canada, where I live with my husband Barry, and my wonderful rescued Rottweiler named Grace. As I said, this is Flosstube number 5. If you are one of my returning viewers, hello, welcome. It's nice to see you again. And if this is your first time stopping by, I'm glad you found us. On this channel, I do film podcasts about crochet, and I film separate podcasts about cross stitch. And I post them alternately. So this week is Flosstube, next week is Crochet Chat. So yeah, if you're into both, I'd love to have you watch both, or you can choose one or the other, whichever fits you best. So we are still in the midst of the Corona takeover. Here in Calgary, Alberta, the province in which I live, has been hit fairly hard. We've got some big outbreaks going on in some old age facilities, which is kind of disheartening, and also in some larger things like meat processing plants and whatnot. So yeah, the healthcare providers are working really hard to try and get things under control. And, hopefully it'll happen soon, because as much as I am an introvert, and I enjoy being at home and, just working on my stitches and working on my crafts and, puttering in the backyard now that spring actually feels like it has sprung. Knock wood, because I don't want to jinx anything. I miss other people. I never thought I'd say that, but I do. Something's going on in my life right now. I have my youngest son and his fiance are going to be married mid-May. Of course, they've had to really change the types of plans they had for the wedding. And gone from having a big traditional wedding to just having a, justice of the peace in the backyard with, parents, and that's it. And then thinking about rescheduling the party and potentially doing a vow renewal once all this is over. They are also expecting my first grandbaby, and that's really exciting. And we did find out that I am having a grandbaby girl. So let all the making begin. Yeah, it's very exciting. And we should be seeing the arrival of my first grandchild in September. So yeah, lots of things going on amidst being stuck in the house. So yeah. Let's everybody stay home and stay healthy and flatten that curve so that eventually we can get our lives back. Alrighty, well, that's enough rambling, I think. And it's time to move on to what you're here for, and that is stitching. So, what have I got to share with you today? I have a finish. Hooray! I have, now it's not a full finish because until the stores reopen, I am lacking some supplies with which to fully finish things, but it is finished this from the stitching perspective. So I have a finish to share. I have 2 new starts to share. I have a bunch of whips to share with you. A teeny tiny bit of haul, teeny tiny. And some fabric that I have listed in my Etsy shop. So a little bit of a shop update. And that's what this episode has in store for you. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, grab yourself a drink. Beverage of choice today is coffee with a little bit of vanilla creamer in it. Just right. Yeah, grab yourself a beverage, grab your stitching, and come on along. All right, let us jump right in, and I'll start off with my finish. So I'm going to reach behind me. I apologize because I never have everything prepared. So my finish is something that I've been working on for a while. You've seen it in previous podcasts. And this is Vintage Happy Halloween. And it is a chart that is available from the Witchy Stitcher on Etsy as well as on her own webpage. I chose to stitch this on an 18 count oatmeal fiddler's cloth type aida. What can I tell you about this? I've done it completely as charted in the charted colors. I did make a few changes here and there. Namely, down here in this little scroll work, it's supposed to have some of the sparkly étoile black in here as well, and I just chose to go straight 310 on it. The little ghosts are not charted to be backstitched, but with the fabric choice that I made, the ghosts were just blending away. So I wanted them to be a little more obvious, so I did some backstitching on there. The only thing I eliminated from the pattern is a bat that is supposed to be in here. I just thought that this was almost symmetrical. I mean, some of the bats are a little bit offset from each other, but it was hinting at symmetry, and that extra little bat in there just was throwing me off. So I just decided not to do it. But yeah, I am really, really happy with how this one turned out. And I am probably going to try and find a vintagey type frame at one of the thrift stores once they reopen and frame that up. I think that's really cute. I really do enjoy the vintageness of it. And the little dots of color, I think really, really set it off. So that is the Vintage Happy Halloween by the Witchy Stitcher. So that was my one big finish for the week. Hooray! If nothing else, I think that the shutdown of everything has really helped us to get a whole bunch of finishes done. Now, I would have more finished. However, those of you who watch my crochet podcast will already know that I have been making a bunch of masks. So I do sewing as well. And my mom, who lives in the city here with me, she called a couple of weeks back now and asked if I could make up her and my dad a couple of just the fabric face masks. So of course, it's my mom. Can't say no. So I made my mom some face masks. So 2 for my mom and 2 for my dad. Then my sisters spoke up, and my next sister, Tammy, she asked me to make some for her and her family. So I did that. And then my oldest sister, Pat, she said, hey, I want some of those too. And I said, no problem. So I made a couple for her and a couple for my brother-in-law. And then things snowballed a bit. So my son's mother-in-law wanted a couple, so I made some for her. And then her friend saw them and wanted some, so I made 4 for her friend, whose daughter then saw them and wanted 2 more, so 6 in total went to that friend. Then my brother-in-law he works for the City of Calgary by law enforcement, and he was wearing his masks into work. And of course, the other people in the office went, hey, we'd like some of those. So he started taking orders. My sister, Pat, she wore hers into work. She still does have to go into work. My other sister is able to work from home. but my oldest sister is still going into work, and she started taking orders at her work as well. So all in all, I'd say I've probably made about 50 some odd masks at this point, which wouldn't be a big deal if the stores were open. So as I'm running out of things, I'm just running out of things. I know a lot of places are doing, online ordering, and some of them are trying to do the, curbside pickup. And I'd say that people are having varied success with this. The wait times for online orders has definitely increased, and it doesn't seem to matter who you're ordering from. It has increased both the processing times as well as the postage times, because of course the post offices are also trying to take all the necessary precautions to keep themselves safe, and as they should be, but it is definitely extending timelines on everything, and we're just not used to that anymore. So I'm finding it a little difficult to get supplies in as I run out of things. So this may be my last, I've got 6 masks to make between now and the weekend, and that may have to be the last of them until I can get more supplies in. So we'll see how that goes. All right, I am going to step away for 1 second, and then when I come back, we can go through my whips and new starts. All right, so moving in to some whips and some new starts. So I'm going to start out with this one because it happens to be on the table. This is one I don't think I have shown on my floss tubes yet. I did show it a while ago as part of the crochet videos, but this is the first time I'll be showing this piece on my floss tube. So starting out with the cover page. So this pattern chart was a purchase off of Etsy. So it is a PDF download. And it is called just Crow, and it is by Stoney Knob Farm Heirlooms. They have a very extensive collection of charts and patterns on Etsy. Most of them are, or a large amount of them are, as like this one, photography that has been converted to cross stitch. Although they have some very interesting vintage looking labels, like fruit labels and that sort of thing that they've converted to cross stitch. Some really, really interesting ones. I will link all of the shops I talk about down below. So if you're interested, by all means, go check them out on Etsy. So again, that was Stoney Knob Farm Heirlooms. And as most PDF downloads on Etsy, they are fairly reasonably priced. All right, and this is how far I've gotten in it. So this is a full coverage piece. It is the only piece that I am working on a Q-snap. I tend to work in hand. So this is the one piece that I am working on in a Q-snap. And this is charted and being stitched on 14 count white aida, so just your basic 14 count white aida. It's an interesting piece. So I've got it in the Q-snap, and I use the Q-snaps for when I'm doing sort of these middle pieces where there's lots of fill-in, because I have a table stand that I can attach it to, and that way, because I do the poke and stab method, so I'm able to, stitch with one hand on top and one hand on the bottom, and these fill-in spots go very, very well. But what I have found is that my table stand and the Q-snaps aren't bad, but the table stand, I can't use it when I'm doing this, the more confetti-ness of the border. And there's actually going to be a big chunk of that confetti-ness coming down here. So in that case, I'm just holding the Q-snap in hand and working sort of cross-country, as you can see. Yeah, so that's where that's going. This actually is probably my longest standing whip. I started this February of 2019. So it's a little over a year old now. One of the reasons why is because it didn't often fit into challenges in the School of Magical Stitches, so I wasn't working on it consistently a lot. So yeah, now that I'm just doing all of my whips in a continuous rotation, the Crow is right now on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday I work on this piece. I hope to see a lot more progress on this very quickly. But there you go. That is the Crow. And I believe that is my only real full coverage piece right now. Although I did find another one that I want to order, but you know, shh. All right, so now we can get into some whips, and in here will also be 2 new starts. So let's go, shall we? So the first one is Barbara Anna Designs, and it is called Autumn Tree. I've made some good progress on Autumn Tree. Let me hold this up for you. All right, so here it is. So Autumn Tree is being worked on a vintage country mocha linen in a 28 count, I believe it is. And it is, I am working this in most all the called for DMC floss. So quite pleased with how this has turned out. I have just about finished the tree all the way to the bottom. There is one more branch to come out here, and then I'll be working on the little girl who stands here, a couple of more things on this branch, a couple of things on that branch, but I can definitely see the end beginning to come into sight with this one. So however, there were some tales of woe with Autumn Tree this week. Let me show you the cover page as well, as I can do that. So this pattern I actually won from the 911 Stitcher. And I have to say, if you haven't watched her Flosstube, you really should go and check it out. She is running a really interesting giveaway right now. And yeah, she's featured a couple of Etsy shops, including mine. And you know, just to expose some of these smaller Etsy shops out there. And you know, if you go to her last Flosstube and give it a watch, she'll explain how her giveaway works, and yeah, you may have a chance to win something out of my shop. So by all means, go check her out. I'll put the link down below. But there is the cover page. So as you can see, I've got this bit to do here, and in the little sign holder I am going to be putting this year's date in there. There's a little fox, a little cat behind the tree, so it's a really cute design. But my tale of woe, there is some woe to go with this piece. Excuse me while I reach onto the floor. With, I believe, 2 rows left in the tree trunk to hit the ground, and the 1 curly branch left, I ran out of that DMC floss. Wah, wah, wah. So I have more of it on order from 123 Stitch. But yeah, as I said at the beginning of this episode, the wait times for product to be delivered has definitely increased due to the coronavirus shutdown of life in general. So yeah, I'm not sure when that's going to come in. I'm going to try and work a bunch of the other motifs while I'm waiting. But yeah, that may delay the finish of Autumn Tree by Barbara Anna Designs. Got that back into its tote bag. All right, moving on. This is one of my new starts, and this is a drawstring project bag. that I tend to make for my yarny crafts, but it does work quite nicely to house cross stitch in as well. I just don't do up the drawstring. And if you're interested in any of my bags, they are available in my Etsy shop. So let me see. Let me pull out the cover page first. So I watched with eagerness the Market 2020, wishing that, you know, we had something like that in Canada. And there was one chart, one pattern that stuck out for me from the moment I saw it, and I had to have it, and I ordered it. I actually ordered it through the designer's Etsy shop just as a PDF download because the time it's taking things to get anywhere, and I wanted it now. So here it is. Are you ready? It is Merry Merry Needleworker by Lindy Stitches. I have been, and yes, everything I print is in black and white because I'm cheap and I don't like to waste the colored ink. So Merry Merry Needleworker by Lindy Stitches. Now the most interesting in my view thing about this, what attracted me right away is she has charted it in 2 different colorways, as most of you probably already know. This is not new news, but I immediately was drawn to the night scene. Amazing, amazing work. So I do not have all the flosses for this. Again, a lot of floss is in transit right now, but I do have some, so I've started with what I've got. So I am working this on a piece of 18 count Aida that I have hand dyed myself. Here it is. Here is my start of Merry Merry Needleworker. So, as I said, 18 count hand dyed Aida that I did up myself. Here is the top of Mary's skirt, the beginning of the little poem. Now you'll see there is a line down here. I didn't want to miscount, so I did my first strand of floss from a center start and then was able to count up from there to do a top-down start. Normally I would start in one of the corners, but because I don't have all my flosses, I figured I would start with the skirt. It is a lot of stitching, a lot of fill-in. Let me again show you the cover page. So there's a lot of fill-in going on there. Yeah, so flosses, what am I using? I am substituting some floss colors. What you see stitched for Mary's skirt is this floss here. A beautiful over-dyed floss. Here is a additional skein by hand dyed by Rolanda, and she is a seller on Etsy. She does some beautiful hand-dyed fabric, as well as some gorgeous hand-dyed flosses. So there it is, and I will hold this up again so you can see the variegation that is happening with that floss. Her floss pricing is incredibly reasonable, and I think it is of amazing quality. So this one is color number 4. Her colors aren't named, they are just numbered. And the writing inside of Mary's skirt, so the Merry Merry Needleworker writing, is going to be done in this floss. Let me hold up my fabric again. And that is another hand dyed by Rolanda floss, and this is color number 103, and it is a variegated blues and grays, and I think it's going to be beautiful. So that is sort of the start of my fancy flosses. I do have a couple of the DMC colors that are being called for as well. Looks like 4 of them. I've got 4 of the DMC colors ready to go. And then I am waiting for all the rest. So as more comes in, of course, I will show you. I just figured I could get started with the skirt because there is a ton of fill in there. So it will keep me going. But that is my start on Merry Merry Needleworker by Lindy Stitches. And I am thrilled. I am so excited to have this one on the go. All right, a little bit of crinkling, I apologize. All right, on to the next. So, in this tote bag is Who's There by Prairie Schooler. So I have gone ahead and ordered 3 more of the charts from this series. I guess I'll call it a series. I believe I can't remember the 3 that I ordered, but they are on order from my LNS. I am just waiting for confirmation of the order to come through. They said it could take up to 2 weeks. And then it will be mailed to me. So it's going to take a while, but that's okay. Let me show you my progress. So this is where I'm at with Prairie Schooler, Who's There. So as you can see, I've made a fair bit of progress. I filled in an entire owl, including his orange eyes that I really like. There's an acorn at the top. I've started the other owl on the other side. Now I am working this on the called for fabric, and that's a 32 count Lambswool linen. And I really, really like it. Now, it is a fairly big piece of linen for that stitch, but what I'm going to do is take the other 3 and stitch them on here as well, and end up with a nice, almost a sampler looking piece in the end. So that is the plan for the piece. Now, I am not using the called for colors. I just went through my stash and found some colors that I enjoyed the play of. So I am using DMC 3883, DMC 3882, and of course, good old 310. So those are the floss colors that I have chosen. And yeah, I'm going to make note of that so I continue those colors throughout the pieces, because they all share that same 3-color colorway. So I think that'll look really cool, all put together onto one piece of linen. I'm actually really enjoying working on that. Working just in black like that it's a different experience for sure than from working in a chart or working on a chart with lots of different colors. There's certainly no confetti on that chart. All right, moving on. We have, and so too bad. So I have shown this a few times as well. Let me show you. It comes from this Cross Stitch Crazy magazine, and it is the January 2019 edition. And the piece I am making is this here that they have finished on a water bottle. I will not be finishing mine on a water bottle. I will be finishing mine as a framed piece. It is going to go into my bedroom and hang up on the wall beside my bed. All right, and here is where we're at. So as you can see from last time, I have done the begun to do the and sew in the pink shades. Now this piece I am doing completely as a stash dive. So I'm just going in and finding colors that I think work well. I did have to make some adjustments to the original pinks that I chose. sometimes I find that when you do sort of the floss toss and you've got the colors on the fabric that you're working, and you look at them and you think, oh yeah, those will all work, and then you start stitching and you realize that, you know, the color, they're not working and the colors are too close to each other to give you the depth that you're looking for. So I did have to make a few changes, and this has ended up being my color palette for the and so portion of the chart. Let me hold that all up. And these are actually not DMC. These are J.P. Coats flosses that I have had in my stash for a number of years. But I thought those colors would look really nice. So I can see this one being a finish in the next month or so. And then once things open up, I want to get that framed and in my bedroom. So motoring along on that piece. And I think I've got two more to show you. So this was a new start. Well, hello everyone. Nicole of the future here. Apparently, I was very verbose in talking about my whips, and I ran out of room on my video card and didn't realize till I was editing, so here I am, putting in what got cut out. So, it's about 5 hours later, and let me talk to you a little bit about this next project. So it came out of the Halloween Just Cross Stitch Special Collector's Edition from 2016, and it is right. Oh my goodness, it would help if I could get to the right page. There we go. Right there. So it is called The Skeleton Key. And there it is right here. So it has been finished in the magazine as a pillow. I'm not sure how I am going to finish mine, but in the magazine it is finished as a pillow. And it is a design by Lee Fisher of StitchyFish Designs. So as you can see, it is a pretty fast and simple stitch, and is going very quickly. So let me show you where I am. So I am working this on a piece of hand-dyed Aida. It was a little leftover piece that I had, so I threw it in the dye pot and came up with this gray and purple mottled fabric, and I thought it would be perfect for this piece. And I also changed out the color of the floss. Since I was working Who's There in mainly black, I didn't want to have a second mainly black piece on the go. So I'm actually using DMC 924, which is kind of like a dark tealy blue, but really dark. Yeah, and I thought that that would go nicely on this fabric. And this is, I believe, a 14 count Aida. As I said, it was just a scrap. All right, and moving on to the last piece that I wanted to talk to you about today. It is one that you have seen before, and it is an Etsy PDF purchase. The chart is designed by a lady named Emily Morris, and her company on Etsy is Pyro Dog Pins. And here it is. It is the bee. So I spoke about this one before. I have worked primarily on this wing over the past 2 weeks. I really, really like this piece. I like how realistic it looks, how delicate the wings look, just blows me away. So all I have left to do is the rest of this wing, and then of course the bee's head and his little antenna up top. So well on the way to being complete with this piece as well. And again, I will link all the shops that I have spoken about down below in the show notes. Oh, and I should say this is being worked on a piece of 18 count white Aida, and all the called for DMC flosses are being used. Alrighty, well, thank you for visiting with me again, and now back to your regularly scheduled programming. All right, I'm back. I have to apologize for the quality of the sound in that last segment of the video. Apparently, you actually have to push the button on the record button on the audio recording to get good sound. Oops. Professional podcast going on here. Alrighty, so moving along, I have a wee tiny bit of haul and then some fabric to show you. So let's start out with my wee tiny bit of haul. And it has come from, you guessed it, hand dyed by Rolanda. I am really, really, really excited to share her with you. If you haven't ever checked her out, I really, really encourage you to do so. She is a fellow Canadian. She is from the province of Ontario. And she's doing some amazing, amazing over-dyed floss. I'm so impressed with the quality of what she's doing. Her pricing is outstanding. So if you get the opportunity to check it out, by all means, go check out her shop. I will list it below. Just it blows me away. Blows me away. So I bought 5 more floss colors from her. Ultimately, I would like to do up a cross-stitch design using her floss. I do need to contact her first and make sure that her floss colors are repeatable, because this is what I bought. So isn't that a beautiful little collection of floss? They are all cotton floss, although she does do hand-dyed silk as well. And I am just in love with all of them. So this is color number 33, and it is sort of a sage green, a variegated green. Then we have color number 46, which is a bright, bright yellow. But again, there is variation in the color, and that is color number 46. Then we have color number 7. So it is a tonal brown with lots of dark to light in there, sort of a reddish brown tone. It is color number 7. We have color number 22, which is sort of like in my opinion, sort of a straw yellow color. Very, very pretty. And finally, color number 39, which is sort of a tonally reddish orange, burnt orange type color. But absolutely gorgeous colors. Very fast shipping, reasonable shipping rates in Canada, at least. I'm not sure what her shipping is like outside of Canada, but certainly check her out. She has hand-dyed fabrics, these beautiful over-dyed flosses. She does she has charts as well. Just well worth the look. I will link her shop below. And finally, a little push for my own shop. And I have to say thank you to those of you who have been visiting my Etsy shop and have been liking things and ordering things. I've had a few orders for the Aida cloth come through, as well as some of my floss drops. Oh, I didn't bring those over to share with you. Yeah, hold please. All right. This is the 3rd time I'm going to talk to you about my floss drops. Let's hope this time it works. So here is what I have listed in my Etsy store. Each set does come with a 2-inch binder ring, which of course opens up so you can get the floss drops on and off. Each set comes with 10 small floss drops. Some have the sort of line on them and some are solid. It comes with 5 large floss drops. Again, the first one has lines on it and the rest are solid. So 15 floss drops in total, 5 big, 10 small, and the floss ring. So the colors I have available are red, green, a powder blue color, brown, a teal, and yellow. Now, my shop, everything I list in my shop does ship free of charge anywhere in Canada or the US. If you are not in Canada or the US and you find anything in my shop that you're interested in, just send me a message through Etsy and we can figure out the shipping costs to wherever you happen to be. Keeping in mind, of course, that there are some restrictions right now with COVID-19 as to where you can ship to. Which is interesting because I did hear somebody say the other day that from the States that they had been denied the ability to ship into Canada, and that shouldn't be happening. As far as I know, all shipments between the US and Canada in both directions are being accepted. So yeah, a lot of craziness going on out there. So finally, the last thing I have to show you, again, they are up in my Etsy shop, are some of my hand-dyed fabrics. So this one is an 18 count Aida. It is it started out as an oatmeal color. It is dyed, it's blue and purple in tones. It is an 18 count Aida. It is 17 by 14.5 inches, and that is the actual size after dyeing, because we know that Aida, being cotton, does shrink when you dye it. So the next piece to show you, I have tangled tags. Let me see if I can untangle my tags. Oh my goodness. Well, this isn't very well planned out. Okay, that one's untangled. That's just these two. There we go. All right. So the next piece I have to show you is again an 18 count Aida, same size, so 17 by 14.5 inches, actual size after dyeing. This too started out as a oatmeal color. It is over dyed with 3 different colors, so we have some cherry red, some navy blue, and some violet. Next up, we have another 18 count Aida, similar size, 16.5 by 14.5 is the actual size after dyeing. This too started out life as a oatmeal colored Aida. It was base dyed in yellow and then had purple or violet added, so it is lemon yellow and violet. And last but not least, the last piece of 18 count Aida to go into my shop recently, and this is again started out life as oatmeal Aida. It is a base of lemon yellow and then over dyed with a very light Kelly green. A nice spring or summer piece, in my humble opinion. All right, so if you are interested in those, they are up on my Etsy shop. And that brings me to the end. That is all I have to talk to you today about. Again, I apologize for the middle section where I was sharing my works in progress and whatnot, and the difference in audio quality that I am sure you will notice. Yes, goes to show you that you actually have to turn on your voice recorder in order for it to, oh, I don't know, record your voice. All right. So that's the end. I will be back in 2 more weeks with another Flosstube episode. But if you would like, you can always catch me a week from now with my crochet update. Let me see. Is there anything else I need to share with you right now? I don't think so. So, as always, take some time for yourself. It's okay to not be okay during these very crazy times. Wherever you're at, it's okay. You know, if you're struggling with the quarantines and the self-isolation, that's all right. If you're not having problems with it, if you're actually kind of enjoying it, that's all right too. If you do need help, if you are feeling very abandoned, alone, lonely, please reach out. There's lots of people out there who care about you, who want to communicate. Reach out and talk. You're not on your own. It may feel like we're all alone, but we're not. We're all in this together. So be kind to yourself. Please be kind to each other. Whenever you can, let's lift each other up. Let's celebrate each other's successes. Let's cheer each other on. Be kind to each other. We're who we've got. This community of Flosstube has been so very accepting, and I'm honored to be a part of it. So be kind to each other. That's about all I've got for you today. Remember, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Bye now.